Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Christina.
Hi, Nicole. How is everyone?
Good.
Cool. So let's start with some introductions. And who has cases or questions? No one. Okay, that's fine. We will get into a conversation anyway, I promise. All right, let's start with introductions. Elena.
Hey, I'm Elena. I'm in Sacramento County, California. Nutrition educator, long time. Christina's course, level 1 coaching certificate back in just November. And glad to be here.
Glad you're here. Why don't you also share what you're hoping to do with this training?
Well, what I'm hoping to do is having my own practice, which I've never done before. I've always been a wage earner and worked for 14 years in the supplement wellness department of a local.
Right. So what are you wanting to do now, Elena? What's your vision? What's your vision for the future?
My vision for the future is having my own practice, working with people mainly in recovery from alcohol and drug addiction, and also like food addiction, sugar, carbs, and things that tend to be related with substance disorders like ADHD and things that a lot of people tend to also have.
Fantastic. So what's your very next step?
My very next step is I'm going to, just in my new community here, set up a free Zoom class on like the food mood connection in the recovery community.
And what are you going to call it?
Don't know yet.
Okay, so your very next step is to come up with a name for your class.
Yeah.
All right,
I have the name. I have the name of my practice for a long time now. And it's the Spanish word for today, which is hoy, H-O-Y. Hoy, with an exclamation point. And then the tagline is, because someday is not a day of the week.
That's beautiful. Okay, so maybe depending upon where the discussion goes today, we can come around and help you brainstorm the name of your class, because that's your very, very first step. Perfect.
Okay.
All right, Elena. Nicole.
Hi. This is my first time joining one of these. Let's see. Thank you. So I live in Pensacola, Florida. I have my master's in clinical nutrition. I'm a CNS, and I'm a certified yoga therapist. And this past summer, my niche came into nutrition around mood over the past couple of years. And then this past summer, a rehab center asked me to teach a class there. So I spent the summer building a curriculum in a rehab center, an 8-week curriculum to teach there once a week. So I teach yoga there and I teach nutrition there in this recovery center. And then currently, starting in November, I started working with a business development program to help me to create this curriculum that I built, to create it into an online signature program. So I am been working on that since November.
Nicole, for whom? Who's your target audience?
Recovery, addiction recovery. So,
Okay, well, so treatment programs, people in recovery.
oh, people just out of recovery.
Okay, so, okay. So you want to put together a program for people just out of treatment. And is this going to be a nutritional protocol? What's kind of your goal?
Yeah. So the program's already, I'm almost done building it.
Yay, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's a nutritional focused program for recovery with meditations put in there also. So it's a 12-week module course where I give little bits of knowledge and then action tasks to take, you know, like whether that week's about protein or something and how to then incorporate protein, one little bite size at a time. And then I also work as I've had my business for a while and I've worked one-on-one with people as well, but I'm putting that curriculum that I built this past summer into a program, because what I noticed when I was teaching in the recovery center, I noticed it's a lot of information. And then how are they going to implement it once they leave the recovery center? Right. So I'm putting this program together so that it can then be implemented and lifestyle changes can be made and they're not left with just a bunch of information, not knowing how to implement it.
That's fantastic. What we found is one structure that can work is like if you have an hour of lecture and then an hour of process where people really get to talk about how they are going to apply this next week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then if you can hook them into our Feeding Recovery Network meetings for extra support on the behavior change, I think you've got a really good, solid program.
Yeah. So all the lesson plans that I recorded are 5 minutes or less.
Perfect.
So, and then like the action tasks are bite-sized pieces so they don't feel overwhelmed. And then I was gonna create a 1 week where we all kind of come together and see how we're doing, how they're doing or what they're having troubles with, and like there's recipes included and, you know, worksheets included and audio learning and visual learning.
That's so exciting. Good for you.
Yeah, the build phase is almost done. I've been working on it since November, and soon it's going to be entering the launch phase, which is my most uncomfortable phase because then that means I got to put myself out there.
It is. And, you know, you may want to take part in our practice building free group. That's this third Saturday of every month.
This thing that I'm in right now?
No, this is the consultation group. So this is specifically about, you know, cases. But the third Saturday of the month, our marketing director, Mark Stiles, kind of coaches people in, you know, and gives support to people, and you get group support in the next steps of your program.
Oh, nice. That's the third Saturday of the month, and that's more of a marketing. You have a lot of things going on.
We do. We do.
I went to a Wednesday call one. This was the first Saturday call I can come on. So the third Saturday, this is the fourth Saturday.
This is the third Saturday of the month.
Okay.
It also happens Monday afternoon, doesn't it, Elena? Sometime on Monday?
And Mark is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Mark is absolutely amazing.
And I can find that on the Amino Therapy website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the event page. So the reason I'm suggesting that is it sounds like you've got really, really good support, but this way you're going to be part of a community of other people who are trying to do similar but different things.
Right. Yeah. And I think we all should work together. I think there's enough people out there where we need more of us. You know, we need the support of like different perspectives and knowledge and you know, I can't know everything. There's no way on my own.
Right.
So
very, very true. All right. Rachel.
Hello.
So just a little bit about who you are and why you're here and what you're hoping to do.
Yes, so my name's Rachel Chen. I'm actually doing a research paper. I'm in college right now, and I'm also a dietitian. But I'm in college to be a clinical mental health practitioner, and so there's a class called research. So I chose the research topic, helping people overcome alcohol addiction using nutritional therapies, like in combination with other therapies. And so I'm just still kind of learning. There's still 6 weeks of the semester. I plan to keep working on this this paper that I made. So that's where I'm at.
That's wonderful. And it sounds like you're wanting also to develop a curriculum that you can take into treatment programs.
Yes.
All right. Well, welcome. Kathy.
Yes, hi, good morning. I am a mom with a, well, I have my holistic health coach certification, and I have a son who has schizophrenia symptoms. And I did the summit, Biohacking Addiction and Mental Wellness Summit in June of 2022. And right now I'm in the process of having a Facebook group for generational wellness. It talks about, addiction and mental wellness, but also for health, wealth, and happiness. Um, and I think what I'm thinking is to interview clinicians like yourselves and to give people hope and inspiration. So, and then also maybe what I am is the marketing, maybe to help bring forth the clinicians, the resources that are out there for addiction and mental health.
Like my entire coaches directory.
What is it?
You've seen my coaches directory, right, Kathy?
Right.
Yeah. So for those of you who aren't familiar, when somebody graduates with the level 1 certification, if they choose, they can be listed on our coaches directory online. And so we have people with level 1 and level 2 certification. And we're trying to get people to put more information about their practices on there, but we've not been very successful, which is too bad at this point. But we're actually planning on creating a very elaborate directory. So, yes. So welcome, Kathy. And good luck with all of that. So, ladies, since nobody's coming with a biochemical question or a case, what would you like to talk about? We can go any direction you want us to.
Well, I'm curious about histamines actually.
Okay, how so?
It seems like last night my son he was fine all day, and then all of a sudden after dinner, well, even before dinner, but I think it might have been blood sugar, then maybe hungry, but after dinner his symptoms exacerbated, and I'm wondering if it's because of histamines. I mean, I forgot to use a DAO before the meal, and it's so hard. I guess I'm just forgetting which foods have high histamine, because I had chicken piccata, and it was capers and lemon.
So capers are pickled.
Right.
Right? So anything pickled, anything aged, anything left over is liable to have higher histamines.
Mm-hmm.
And so capers are absolutely, because they come out of a pickled jar, right? Are
Right.
going to be likely
Forgotten.
higher histamines. The
Right.
thing with histamines, though, Kathy, is that it's tricky. It's tricky because you've got foods that are naturally high in histamine. You have foods that release histamine. And then you have foods that if they've been hanging around too long, like capers in a jar, they haven't gone bad, but histamines, they're kind of creating histamines, which is why if you've got somebody with histamine sensitivity, like your son probably has, you really need to be using the DAO enzyme all the time. with every single meal, because you're not going to be able to guess ahead of time which food, because there's so many permutations on this that you're going to drive yourself nuts. So that's why you just know. Does everybody know what the DAO enzyme is? Okay, Nicole, you do. Oh, there you go. But Rachel doesn't. Elena, do you know?
Not precisely, I've heard of it.
Okay, Nicole then, because this is a community consultation group. I'm going to let you run with it.
Well, I just thought it was funny because I get these pamphlets from Designs for Health, which is a supplement company that I like because it's a small business. It's a Connecticut-based, privately owned, and their package today was this. So I just thought that that was funny that that's what I got in the mail.
Histogest DAO. Yep.
Yeah. So let's see. So it provides DAO is exogenous diamine oxidase or diamine oxidase.
Yep.
DAO to help support normal and healthy histamine metabolism in a unique, this particular brand is an exogenous type of DAO, which DAO is an enzyme that helps support histamine metabolism. And so probably
if you were to break that down, have you actually studied DAO?
You cut out a little bit there. What did you?
Oh, okay, sorry. Have you studied DAO?
Not too much. This particular, I mean, I could go back into like biochemistry and like look up to see the enzyme and what substrates support it. But I don't know off the top of, I don't have it memorized off the top of my head.
Okay, so I'll jump in here then. Thank you for that. So DAO is an enzyme produced by the gut. It is regulated by a particular gene, and it's not the DAO gene. That confuses everybody. The DAO gene does not regulate the DAO enzyme. Unfortunately, it's another gene that I can't remember. So we can have SNPs in that genetic pathway that can inhibit the production of DAO in our gut. Gluten can inhibit it, Candida can inhibit it, other things can inhibit DAO. DAO's job is essentially to digest the histamine, the excess histamine in our gut that gets there from the food we eat. Okay, it's not the histamine that the gut itself produces. DAO is there to deal with the histamine that comes in with the food. And a lot of people don't have enough of it. And therefore we end up high histamine. Now we can have high histamine for other reasons too, okay? There can be SNPs and some of the other histamine genes. We can be undermethylating, which means our histamine is going to be running higher. So there can be other reasons for high histamine in the body. But if you add to that low DAO or a lot of high histamine foods, the person's going to get into trouble. And symptoms of histamine intolerance are kind of all over the place. Okay, we've got mood symptoms like anxiety. We've got gut symptoms like, nausea and diarrhea. We've got headaches. We've got things. Okay, there's a whole variety of things. But using the DAO enzyme regularly can really help the body lower all of those things and help the body process the histamine that comes in. Problem with going on, you can temporarily go on a low histamine diet, which can be useful to identify that, yes, this is a real problem. But because of what I just mentioned, the complexity around identifying which are the histamine carrying foods or promoting foods or whatever, it's better to come in through, supporting histamine degradation than putting yourself on a really strict, non-ending low histamine diet.
Do you know what vitamins and minerals support DAO off the top of your head?
What vitamins and minerals support DAO? I do not remember. If I ever knew.
I
Yeah.
know I've known, but I can't remember either. I have to look
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah, we can stop producing DAO, absolutely. Or, you know, our production can sort of get smushed. There are some very specific things that smush DAO production, including, like, as I said, gluten intolerance, but I'm not remembering all of them.
So if we take, if one takes the DAO enzyme, someone mentioned to me, you know, if you keep taking the gluten enzyme or gluten blocking enzyme and dairy blocking enzymes, that our body will say, oh, good, you know, I don't need to produce it myself because I have this extra source. So could it be the same for the DAO?
Well, this is one of the reasons they say to not take these enzymes at the beginning of the meal, but to, you know, take a couple bites first or go through half your meal so your body has a chance. And we know this is true for hydrochloric acid, so that your body has a chance to actually produce its own enzyme. And then you can come in and just add to what the body's producing.
Oh, so we should do it 15 minutes into the meal.
Or 5 minutes into the meal. I don't
5
think
minutes.
you need to go all 15, but 5 minutes in, because, you know, the body's going to start producing these enzymes immediately.
Mhm.
That might prevent the atrophy. And I don't know that the atrophying has actually been proven. I think it may be more of a theory,
Mhm.
but, you know, that's why you may want to wait just a few minutes.
Is that the same for the DAO, or the DAO should be right at the beginning of the meal?
No, that's what you're saying, is that maybe the DAO, you know, we could wait 5 minutes.
Okay, for all the enzymes
Mhm.
and DAO.
Yeah.
And then what about probiotics? Should you take it before or after the meal?
Probiotics, it can be taken anytime. My understanding is. Does anybody have a different understanding? I mean, if you take it between meals, you know, that's fine.
Only with antibiotics would be changed, like it was like 4 to 6 hours after an antibiotic would be the only thing about that I remember about timing of a probiotic.
Yeah. So
So-
what are your son's high histamine symptoms?
OCD, intrusive thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah, bad enough that last night he asked for Xanax, but we didn't. He actually, no, he asked for Prolent first. That
Good.
was interesting because
Oh,
the
by the way,
Prolent,
people, that's 5-HTP.
yeah, Prolent has 5-HTP, it has glycine, it has B6 and L-theanine.
Yeah, it's a
And
nice calmer.
and he does actually quite well. It actually replaces Xanax.
Good.
And but
Yay,
then
that's exciting.
yes, but then the middle of the like after he slept for about an hour, he woke up and yelled out and said, "Mom, Xanax, Xanax." And then my husband's like, you know, thank God he's kind of on board now. He's like, "Your mom's asleep," because I hide a Xanax. And so he said, "Your mom's asleep." So then he just kind of went back to sleep.
Yay.
So, yeah, so that
Good.
was
And
that
how
was
is he this
good.
morning?
And he realizes that though. He says, "Mom, the Prolent is just like the Xanax, is as good as the Xanax." Although, I mean, recently I did give the Xanax 2 times within 2 weeks. He's like, you know, really angry that I didn't give it to him because he said he really needed it. So I
Mhm.
finally gave in because it was kind of emergency. I didn't want him to take it every day.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, twice in 2 weeks. That's not going to build tolerance.
yeah, so that was
Rachel,
good.
do you see how we can use the amino acids and nutrients to deal with mental health symptoms? Do we have Rachel?
Not sure.
Yeah.
What was that?
So I want you to see here how we actually use amino acids in practice in a family to deal with mental health issues.
Yeah. Is it Prolent was the medication? Prolent? Or not medication, supplement? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But it's
Every-
not for everyone, because I talked to another mom whose son has similar symptoms. She said it works great for one of her sons, but then it actually does not work well with her other son, the 5-HTP. So
well,
I
yeah,
think it
I mean, that's
depends,
true for everybody.
right?
You see, this is why we use the amino acid therapy chart to determine, people health of their neurotransmitters to help us bring in the right dosing of the right amino acid.
So one question I have is, should I be scared of antibiotics? Because one of his doctors suggested taking the antibiotic for a high EOS at 7. And she suspected is parasites. And she said, well, you got to get rid of those parasites. And I remember 2 years ago when my son had an antibiotic for his surgery, right 10 days after the course, the doctor did say, oh, wait a moment, he's much clearer than ever before. And it's probably because of the antibiotics. But then afterwards, we didn't take probiotics with it. And he wasn't very stable on the meds, and he, had very terrible symptoms again. But so I'm just curious, should I be scared of it, or
Well, we shouldn't be scared of anything, okay? But what we want to do is really understand how the antibiotic works. So not all antibiotics are full spectrum, i.e. killing everything in your gut. And the ones that are full spectrum and kill everything in your gut, they're the most dangerous in terms of gut health, because then you really have to be carefully rebuilding. Some of the anti-parasitic antibiotics are very specific for the parasites and don't kill off everything else in your gut. So that's a question you need to ask your pharmacist. Or look it up.
right? Yeah.
Did you see what I mean, Kathy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the one she suggested was something like trizodone or I have to look it up again, but we didn't test the poop, so we don't know what specific strain of parasites he might have.
So there are some tests that I think, like the GI map, or there's another parasite test from, I think, doctors' data, the comprehensive stool analysis with parasites, that actually has a screen that will tell you which parasitical will be most effective with this particular strain. So you might want to do that type of test first so that you know exactly what you're dealing with rather than just kind of guessing.
Right. Yeah. I'm just wondering because I did order the test, but it didn't come with the zonulin test. So I'm wondering if we need to do the zonulin for the leaky gut.
I mean, let's just assume he's got leaky gut. I mean, you can do zonulin, sure, but but it's not as necessary as some other things. Did you order the comprehensive stool analysis?
I did order it. I'm having trouble with for my son to poop into a tray. He's like, "Oh yuck! I don't want to do that."
So don't have him poop into the toilet and have him scoop it out, or you scoop it out.
It's so the water wouldn't affect it, or the urine.
No.
You'll probably drain the water though, like turn the water off in the toilet bowl.
Drain the water.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just turn the water off so that, and then flush, and then it won't refill, and then poop, and then turn the water back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. Huh. Okay.
If he doesn't want to poop into a tray, but he's used to pooping into a toilet bowl.
Okay, so then I need to turn off I need to turn off the water. How do I do that again?
There's a little round thing on the base of your toilet.
Yeah. So at
A
the
wheel, that's the word.
righty tighty, lefty loosey. So just turn the water off, flush, and then it won't refill. And then when he goes to the bathroom, then you have to turn the water back on, wait for it to refill before you flush again.
Okay, got it. Yes, I got it. It's a silver, it's actually like one of those water, yeah, water turnoffs.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah,
Nicole-
go ahead.
no, go on, Kathy.
Oh, so I have to call EHA Labs to ask for the zonulin to add to the zonulin.
Okay.
Yeah. I did that actually, and then they said they were going to get back to me, but they haven't.
Well, at least do the parasite test. You have to do the parasite test twice because you want to get the active parasites, but then whatever ova are there are going to hatch within a couple of weeks, and then you want to get them too. So parasite tests are actually not a one-shot deal. You have to do them a couple of times. Yeah, so that's cool. Nicole, what I wanted to ask you, because I know you're in active practice, is are you currently working with any clients with mental health or addictive issues?
Yeah, so basically when I started at the
So can you share some of your clients with us? Or if you have any questions about them?
let's see. I didn't come prepared for that because I came to prepare to listen because it was the first time coming.
I know, but here you are.
Okay, so one of my, she's come to me for insomnia and high anxiety issues. So she's having, she doesn't have trouble falling asleep. She has trouble staying asleep. So I've brought in, and then she's like a highly anxious, stressed, worrying type of person. And so like she has a hard time falling back to sleep sometimes due to worry and anxiety type of thoughts.
I'm going to interrupt you just for a minute. So Elena, what comes to mind?
Tryptophan, if she's not on, you got to be careful if she's on an antidepressant or anything like that to work with that.
Yeah, SSR. No, she's doesn't want to go the medication route, so she's not on any medication.
Right. So that is a sign of low serotonin, is the anxious worrying that keeps you awake in the middle of the night. Okay, go on.
So obviously I work with food, but besides, work with food, eating more protein, eating throughout the day and everything like that. There was a couple of supplements we've tried. So she has tried various times over like all the amino acids. So
when you say all the amino acids, which ones have you tried on her?
Oh yeah, so she previously tried. So now I'm going to talk about what I'm doing.
Right. Oh, okay.
So I read a study about a particular strain in a probiotic that helps with sleep. So I put her on a particular probiotic with this strain, which I can't remember the strain, and I'm not prepared, so I didn't have it written down.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I know I'm putting you on the spot.
And then I put her also on acetyl L-carnitine, which I'm thinking about switching it to both components of carnitine because due to the biochemical pathway that keeps us asleep through the night, that keeps our blood sugar stable through the night, that is a carnitine dependent pathway. And she probably is not getting enough red meat. And then I put her on first it was just a GABA, a supplement with just GABA in it. And so that was a couple months and she had really no changes with that. And then I changed it to one that has a Designs for Health that has GABA and 5-HTP in it. So she's just started that a few weeks ago and I just emailed her. So I don't think she's having that many changes yet. So
if it's going to work, Nicole, it should work immediately if the dose is right. Okay, 5-HTP is not something that you actually need to build up in the system, nor is GABA. When you have the right dose, it will work within 15 minutes.
Okay. So in that dose, I can't remember the amount of GABA in it, but it's just 50 milligrams of 5-HTP. That I remember because I was thinking that might be too low. So what what are your thoughts? Like what else? So I have her on the probiotic, the carnitine, and this supplement. Then she takes the B complex in the morning, and if I remember correctly, she also takes like an omega. She was doing that prior to me, the B complex.
Okay, cool. What about chromium and biotin for blood sugar stability?
Biotin, and what was the other one that you said?
Chromium.
Chromium.
So along with the carnitine to support the blood sugar stability. So a
Yeah.
lot of people, so there are a variety of reasons why people will wake up in the middle of the night, but the most common one is low blood sugar. So does she go back to and this is a combination of food and the 5-HTP or tryptophan to get down the worrying, support the serotonin. Does that work for her, the food?
So the thing is, like when she first started working with me, she's having a hard time seeing the small improvements. So there are improvements in the fact that she's able to go back to sleep.
Good.
Starting with me, she wasn't able to go back to sleep. When she woke up in the middle of the night, she was just awake. And so now she's starting to be able to fall back to sleep a little bit easier. So thank you. But I want to get her to stay asleep for at least, my goal is to get her to stay asleep for like 7 hours. She's sleeping for maybe 5.
Is she getting a before bed snack?
I suggested that, yeah. But when I see her again, I'm gonna go over her. I ever go over like a 24. So I see her again in the beginning of April.
Because if you want her sleeping, so there's 2 things. One is you're going to have to raise the serotonin at bedtime, and the second is you're going to have to get enough food in there to make it through. And I think along with the carnitine, the chromium and biotin will help that maintain.
Yeah, I definitely suggested the bedtime. So she eats dinner late. So I was trying to see if she could eat dinner a little earlier and then do like a protein-rich snack before bed. So that was something I'm going to see how
some tarts in that. Yeah.
So chromium, and then I wanted to change the carnitine to the acetyl, both variations of the carnitine, the acetyl on the other. Do you have a supplement that you recommend that has anything combined?
You probably know those better than I do right now.
Okay.
Yes, do you, Elena, know of a supplement that contains both L-carnitine and acetyl L-carnitine?
Not off the top of my head, no.
That I could, that I know, that I got that for health. So that one I know both, and I'm going to switch to both instead of just acetyl L-carnitine. But the chromium, do you know the good supplement?
Oh, the chromium and biotin. Okay, well, there's 2 multivitamins that very consciously have enough in them. One is Glucobalance by Biotics Research.
Glucobalance by Biotics Research. Okay.
And the other is True Balance by Now.
True Balance by Now. Okay, that was another. I was having her take True Calm by Now at one point.
And that's great. But the True Balance is a multivitamin with the extra biotin and chromium in it for blood sugar control.
Okay, wonderful. And would you have her take that one? Because the B complex I have her obviously taking in the morning because that could affect melatonin. So that's a morning one. This True Balance, would you have that in the morning or in the night?
It could be morning or lunch.
Morning or lunch.
I wouldn't necessarily do it. It has a moderate B complex in it. I think it has like 15 milligrams of B6.
Okay. Yeah, she's definitely taken B6 because I think B6 is in the one that I have her in. It's a NeuroCalm by Designs for Health, the one with the GABA and the 5-HTP. I'm pretty sure that has magnesium and B6.
But it's going to have just a tiny, teensy little bit of B6. Your B complex is going to have a lot more.
Right.
Yeah, if it's a good quality one. So I would bring in 100 milligrams, 1 to 200 milligrams of 5-HTP at bedtime. Now, because along with the food that should keep her asleep, sometimes in some people, the 5-HTP is activating, in which case you'd have to switch to tryptophan. in which case you probably want to either do that first with carbs and have your protein half an hour later, or just have it with, you know, a more complex carby snack. Because
Yeah, the tryptophan needs a little bit of like a cracker to get across the
it
blood-brain
does.
barrier. Yeah.
Well, yeah, or you can have it by yourself. You just don't want branched chain amino acids floating around. So interfere.
Right. Because it's like a large, it'll compete for the, you want to make sure tryptophan wins getting over and not the other ones, right? Okay.
Exactly, exactly.
So
And
what
insulin helps with that. You know, not a huge insulin spike, but you know,
yeah.
nice little bit of insulin. But so you start with the 5-HTP, see if she can tolerate it. 50 milligrams not going to be enough. I do at least 100. And then
Okay.
I use the amino acid therapy chart to see if she needs more serotonin support throughout the day. You know, if this anxious, worried agitation is, you know, impacting her throughout the day and not just at bedtime.
Oh, it is.
Right. Okay. So she may need, you know, you may need to be dosing the 5-HTP throughout the day then.
Okay. So just to kind of what I'm going to think about changing, I think I'm going to discontinue the NeuroCalm after she finishes that one. And then I'm going to add in the True Balance by now. And I'm going to switch the acetyl-L-carnitine to L-carnitine and acetyl. And then I'm just going to do directly 5-HTP.
Directly. Yep.
Okay.
Before bed. And
The
and if she wakes up in the middle of the night with rumination.
Okay.
But
So
I
the
know
5-HTP
keep her from waking up.
throughout the day or just at night?
So that depends on her scores on the chart, you see, or however you think about it. If she needs, so we can dose 5-HTP throughout the day whenever she needs it. Because if you have the right dose, you know, people are going to feel the effect within 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
So
So maximum though would be 200 milligrams.
So my max throughout a day of 5-HTP is 400 milligrams.
400 milligrams max. Okay.
I don't like going above that because it tells me that something else is going on. We may have tryptophan turning into niacin or going down the, you know, quinolinic acid pathway, or tryptophan, you know, or something else is going on. There may be too much inflammation. So I'm going to want to then, or bring in some niacin. I'm going to want to look at what else is stealing your serotonin.
Yeah. Okay.
We're just jacking it up, but you know, at least up to 400 milligrams is really useful for people.
Okay. So that, okay, great. That's helpful.
Yeah.
Would you recommend after this, if it doesn't work, would you recommend because I was thinking about doing an oats test?
You certainly could, but I think you can try these things first.
Right. Okay. Great. No, thank you.
Because you've got two very clear things going on. You've got low blood sugar, probably waking her up in the middle of the night, and then you've got the low serotonin keeping her awake.
Yeah.
We have tools to address both of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Wonderful. Good.
Yeah.
It's helpful to have this. I was thinking about some of this stuff, and then it was nice to get it even clearer for when I meet with her. So thank you.
Well,
awesome.
That's kind of why I put you on the spot. I know you weren't prepared, but since, you know, any of us who are working with clients can always use an opportunity to think it through again.
Yeah, no, this is, I feel much more prepared. It's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's what we try to do in this particular class. Rachel, do you have any questions or comments about what we just talked about?
Oh, no, I have a bunch of notes here. I'm learning a lot. That's all I have to say.
Because I know you're a dietitian, but most dietitians don't learn how to do amino acid therapy.
Correct. They don't.
Yeah. Well, you can, Kathy, you can certainly schedule the ProLent. you know, 3 times a day or whatever.
That's what I was wondering. Do I only give it to him for when he asks, for when he has those emergencies, or kind of hedge it and kind of fill up his 5-HTP or what he
That's what
needs?
I,
so that-
that's what I would do. For him, I would put him on a protocol for good 6 to 8 months. Because I think that's going to lower the number of emergencies he gets, and it's going to lower that kind of background noise.
So you would suggest, I guess, 2 to 3 times a day for
Absolutely.
Prolent?
Yep.
And would
Nothing
it
in
be,
it's going to hurt him.
what is it?
Nothing in it is going to hurt him. And he's not on an SSRI, right?
He is on SSRI,
Yes. Okay. So how much 5-HTP is in the Prolent?
50 milligram,
50.
50.
Okay. So the rule of thumb is to take a precursor 6 hours away from an SSRI or a
6
serotonergic drug.
Right, right.
So you could certainly do it twice, but you want to make sure it's 6 hours away. I mean, unless if he's in an emergency situation, then his serotonin is not holding anyway, and you can certainly bring it in. In terms of dosing it regularly, you want to make sure it's that far away from the medication.
Right. Yeah. We experienced that where he took it together and he literally had a suicidal attempt
Yeah.
2 years ago. So
We
so I
don't
am
like
careful.
serotonin syndrome.
Right. So should it be with meals or without meals?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Okay. So
Ideally without meals, but it really doesn't matter.
yeah, because he likes the Prolent. So I don't think he would mind taking more of it.
Yeah.
So that
I would give him at least one a day, and then an extra one when he gets into an emergency.
Right. Yeah, because I haven't been giving it to him regularly, and that's probably going to help him to be able to taper off the Pexo because he's on Pexo.
Well, you know what is going to help him taper off is his longing for THC.
He doesn't crave THC right now. He actually
Good.
goes for the alcohol.
Okay, well, so it'll help with that too, but at least he's stopped binging on his THC.
Yeah, he doesn't. He hasn't done THC for a long time now because he knows that brings him to psychosis. Yeah. So he craves the sugars, the alcohol, and in regards to the berberine, because of the medication, he gets super hungry at night after dinner, and then he binges and eats a lot, and so
Of
that
carbs rather than real food.
not just carbs. He goes for the protein. He's aware because I'm like he wants to lose the weight too. So he just like, Mom, I'm just so hungry. He just goes for anything. He just gets really, really hungry after dinner.
How long after dinner?
What is it?
How long after dinner does he get really, really hungry?
One within 1 hour. And he eats a
You
lot
need
during
to
dinner.
try glutamine, Kathy, and see what glutamine does. If glutamine can extend that window.
Glutamine capsules.
1,000 milligrams glutamine when he gets that food craving, and just see if, maybe you're 20 minutes before that food craving tends to kick in, and just see, because it's very possible that even though he's eaten, his blood sugar is dropping really quickly. He's got hyperinsulinemia. And so once that blood sugar dropped, he's going to be hungry. So bringing in glutamine could feed his brain sufficiently that it can buy you guys some time. It's an experiment. I don't know, but I think it's worth a try.
Is there any possibility that glutamine could bring any kind of I don't know, more either mania or psychosis?
Probably not. And it could, but you know how to deal with emergencies. So, you know, if it does, it's not going to last. Right. It's worth the risk because he goes into emergencies anyway.
Mm.
Right.
1,000 milligram of glutamine. I have to find if I have the capsules or I have is there powder form? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know, you can start with 500 milligrams, but chances are you would need 1,000 milligrams. And that's it's probably unlikely that it's going to stay stuck in glutamate because I know he's on the B6, he's on the zinc. So that pathway from glutamate into GABA is, you know, you're keeping it pretty open. So we only have a problem with glutamine, you know, staying stuck in glutamate if that GAD enzyme is in trouble. And you guys are working really hard to keep that open.
Yeah, his nighttime hunger is just crazy. It's yeah.
Try the glutamine.
And that doesn't interact with the clozaril, with the medication. Or well, yeah, he's on the trileptal and clozaril at night.
It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And a doctor, you know, and we were talking about switching Paxil to fluvoxamine so that we can lower the clozaril. And I'm not sure, since he's in school right now, whether we should do it if that might destabilize him.
Yeah, I'd wait till break.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
That's
he's
what I was
actually stayed really stable for the first time in a long time. So you don't want to screw with too much.
That's what I was
You know,
wondering.
what you have him on is working relatively well.
Yeah, pretty well. And we just dropped clozaril from 450 milligram to 400 milligram, and that actually has lessened the OCD intrusive thoughts quite a bit.
Excellent. Okay.
So, but I'm just wondering, like, do I need to switch the antidepressant or just or just keep lowering, you know, keep stabilizing him with the supplements and then keep lowering the med very, very slowly?
That's what I would do.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Because people run into so many problems when you try to switch SSRIs and then bring in the SNRIs. It can just become a horrific mess.
Yeah, that's
So
what I'm thinking.
You know, you don't want to fix what's not broken. See.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, to just not switch things, just instead just taper things and slowly. Yep. Okay. And then the berberine, how much or how,
Now,
when
what
to
are
take
you
that?
using the berberine for? Because berberine lowers blood sugar.
Is that right?
Yeah, so you may not want to be doing berberine at dinner.
Oh, maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, I would not do berberine at dinner.
So when should, okay, so what happened is usually what people do with the clozaril protocol is that they add the metformin. And I refuse to give him metformin. I don't want to give him more meds. He's gained 70 pounds since taking the clozaril. So how do I help him to not have this metabolic syndrome?
Lower the clozaril. Give it to him in the morning. Or lunch. Give it to him at lunchtime.
Give berberine at lunch.
I mean, he's gaining the weight probably because he's binging on food at nighttime.
That's part of it for sure.
You know, I mean, yes, I know these meds can screw up your metabolism, your mitochondria, and all of that. But yeah, give him the berberine at lunch, and then, you know, give him the glutamine 45 minutes after dinner and see if that holds him. You'll know in a couple of days.
Mhm. Yeah, I just have to, I probably have it in all the supplements that I purchase. I have to check whether I have the glutamine. If not, what
Sure
brand
you
do you
have.
suggest?
Excuse me for a moment. My dog is whining. I need to see why.
Mm. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, my son has been on this journey for 3.5 years and has been on and off many different antipsychotic and antipsychotic or psych meds. So anyways, what brand of glutamine would you suggest if I don't have it in my pantry?
Okay. This is on this, of course, it's the pure powder in a capsule.
What I'm sorry, pure powder and a capsule?
Yeah, so now is fine. Celery is fine.
There's plenty of good brands out there of L-glutamine.
Yeah, that's not one you have to worry about brand wise, providing it's the pure powder in the capsule.
Right.
Pure powder in a capsule.
Or pure powder in a little scoop, but you know, capsules are easier to swallow than scoops.
Okay.
Or you can put it right on the tongue and it works. With some water, it works like super fast, like
Yeah.
all the aminos. Hey, I had a thought about what the person Nicole was sharing, which was thinking about what about like adding L-theanine during the day with the 5-HTP if she has, like you said, she has high anxiety. Like, does she also have often have you know, what we call overwhelm, or that spin freeze where like her brain gets overwhelmed? Like, have you and also because doesn't the L-theanine help with cortisol as well?
Yep.
And I love, oh my God, I love L-theanine. I really do. So I just wondered if
But
she
you're
has
okay.
any of those symptoms as well, if you know or not.
Or do you use the NeuroCalm during the day with her to help with her anxiety?
She's mainly taking the NeuroCalm at night.
What's keeping you from giving it to her during the day for her daytime anxiety?
Well, nothing. Now I'm gonna that's what we were trying, and now we're gonna try something else.
There you go. Because the thing is if she's having daytime anxiety as well, the more you lower that, easier it's going to be for, well, both it will just improve her well-being, right? But it will also should improve her sleep.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I think because I was having her take it at lunch and dinner, and then her counselor was like, well, called me and was like, well, can we try taking it at night? I was like, she could try taking it at night. She could try taking it at lunch and dinner. So it was a little annoying, honestly.
Why didn't she want to take it at lunchtime?
She was fine. The therapist was like, well, I think she needs it closer to night. So like she's bouncing.
Why? I mean, what was the therapist's reason?
To support the decrease of anxiety overnight. And so I was thinking about having it small doses through the day so it could support it throughout the day.
So for
but
that
she
one.
Yeah, she needed something to,
And you don't have to worry about the doses being tiny. I mean, if she needs a bigger dose during the day to
Yeah.
deal with the daytime anxiety and a bigger dose at nighttime, that's fine. It's not either or.
right, yeah, so I have a better plan. My question now is, so do you think that I should get a 5-HTP with L-theanine in it also, or just stick with the 5-HTP for now?
I would stick with the 5-HTP for now. The reason why, and this is what I teach my students, it's really important for you to know what the individual aminos are doing with your clients. And it's important for them to know as well, because that will improve compliance.
And also, I agree, like if you do too much, you don't know what's working. So if you like isolate it out a little bit, it's more.
Exactly. That'll
a
help you
knowing.
find the right dose of the 5-HTP. Then
Yeah.
you can bring in the theanine. I mean, 5-HTP and theanine can work beautifully together, but separately until you find the right dose that's going to work.
Got it. This has been amazing, very amazing. I have to go though.
All right.
Thank you so much. And this is so helpful. Like you work individually and you can't do that. You have to have a group. You have to have it balanced. So this has been like, I'm glad that I'm like on the right path, but now I'm like even more on the right path and getting more information, and this is just perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Well, you
Thank
enjoy yourself, and we'll see you next month.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye now.
Happy Saturday.
So quick question about energy.
Mhm.
So the B12, he's very, very tired. So would I give him the B12 folate, the methylfolate?
Well,
Or what would help with energy?
I mean, the problem is that we don't know. Is the fatigue coming from, the food he's eating? Is it coming from a metabolic issue, a mitochondrial issue? Is it, where's it coming from?
Probably from the side effect of medication, because he sleeps 12 to 14 hours a day.
Right. In which case, just upping the B12 and folate isn't going to offset the effect of the medication. Have you read the new book, Brain Injury by Chris Palmer?
Oh, not yet. I have it.
I think it's time that you read it, because he goes into fairly good detail about how these medications create fatigue and metabolic syndrome.
Right. So it's best to lower the medication
It's best to lower the medication. I don't think there's much you can do, at least there's not that I know of, to come in and offset, that effect. Now, maybe by the time I finish his book, I'm about 2/3 of the way through it, then I'll be able to, give you more information, but I'm not quite there yet. He has a good theory.
Yeah, I do have the book. So, and I do have the L-glutamine that I purchased actually from Shelley.
There you go.
Amino, L-glutamine 500, craving gone.
Perfect. So give it to him tonight and see what happens.
So if he has cravings for alcohol or during the day, can he take it too?
Yes.
So 500 to start, just to see how it feels.
Yeah, but typically you need 1,000.
Typically you need 1,000, because he's at 250 pounds.
Yeah,
So,
typically you need, the weight doesn't matter, but typically you need 1,000.
okay.
Okay.
So Christina.
And also he needs to get used to asking, and you can ask him when he has alcohol cravings during the day, when was the last time he ate protein prior to the craving? So Rachel, that's the question that we get everybody asking. When was the last time you ate protein prior to your craving, or slip, or a domestic violence incident, or yeah, because that will tell you whether it's a low blood sugar thing.
So Christina, back to the the beginning, my very simple idea of what to call my Zoom class is just feeding recovery, because it's going to be a feeding recovery Zoom meeting.
Well, wait, is it going to be our Feeding Recovery Network meeting?
That's what I want to do. Yeah.
Oh, well, if it's going to be our Feeding Recovery Network meeting, then yes, then that's what it is.
Okay.
And you call it Feeding Recovery Network.
Yeah.
I thought you were just putting together a nice little, class.
No, I want to do the feeding. I want to do the that one.
Okay, perfect.
And
Then
also, I wanted to let you know, you had put it out there, I don't know, weeks ago, this webinar from Psychiatry Redefined with Dr. Greenblatt.
Mhm.
It was so amazing that I jumped in for the next one and watched them again.
Good.
What an amazing, brilliant, compassionate, like with the children, man, just mind-blowing, that guy. I was almost in tears. It was so wonderful. And there's a ton of good, and I want to take every one of his courses. Anyway, like, thank you for sharing that too, because I feel the same way about you, by the way, and Mark. Really, really, just inspiring, just beautiful.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
that has really good information.
Yeah.
All right, ladies, let's
Okay.
stop at this point, and glad to have you with us, Rachel. And hopefully I'll see you all in a month.
Yeah. Have a great rest of your weekend.